Hey guys, what's up? It's Russell Rush here. Yes, still at home, still being safe, but that did not stop a new season of the Russell Rush Haunted Tour, which just started tonight. So I hope you can appreciate my new. I always do this. I'm so backwards. My new Golden Girl sign, my puzzle, actually for my friends over at 7 to 7 Dental that hooked me up with that one. So you get to look at that while we're on this one too. But tonight's episode was all about the urban legends of San Antonio. Some famous stories that if you're from San Antonio, you know. I know we have fans all over the world, but these stories, I think it's interesting because a lot of different places have stories that relate to something like this. So anyway, we're going to get the team in here, and we are going to go deeper into these stories and talk about some of the personal experiences we've had out there with After the Haunt.
What was that?
Welcome the team all in. What's up, guys? How are you?
Hey.
Hello.
Good to see everybody here. It's kind of crazy that we just launched season 13 tonight of Haunted Tour amidst a pandemic.
I know.
Wow.
Congratulations to us.
That's really what the show is about, just congratulating ourselves. No, for real. We do have a comment section over here, which I completely forgot about, and I have it up now so I can see everything over here. So you can actually ask us any question you want about tonight's episode, about anything at all coming up with Haunted Tour. We would love to chat. I know we went live on Monday night, and we'll continue to do that for our Throwback Redux segment. But tonight, all about the urban legends of San Antonio. Opinions. Just want to open the floor here, which, by the way, before I get into that, if you haven't seen the episode yet, don't worry. We're not going to spoil anything, okay? And if anybody tries to, yell spoiler alert, okay? Can we do that? All right. So if you want to go see the episode, actually, you just hit up russellrushhauntedtour.com. That is our website. Or as simple as going to a YouTube where you probably already found us, or even on Facebook, you can watch the episode right there. Just search for the Russell Rush Haunted Tour. So opinions of the episode tonight, talking about those big urban legends of San Antonio. Thoughts?
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
I loved it.
Spooky.
I was so excited. I can't
Maybe we're
believe
gonna go back out there.
Well,
I know, right?
We were talking places that everybody went and partied, so I'm thinking a little bit.
Okay.
You know?
So a little behind the scenes here. So we actually had to film the episode apart, right? When we talked to all these people, and our thanks to Gilberto, to Mike, the Texas Cryptid Hunter, to Heather Shade, to all these people that also had some extra information to add to it here. We did it all, online through Zoom kind of stuff, that kind of technology. And every story, I have a video of Daryl talking about all of these places he partied at.
Yeah.
And by the way, there was one that we didn't get into, which we kind of all agreed that we're tired of telling the story of the ghost tracks in San Antonio, right? And Kendra, you'll be glad I cut that one out, because if you remember, Daryl started that story out talking about how, oh yeah, man, I used to go out and party there, and then you'd take your girl over to get her all scared at the ghost tracks, and then you'd make out. And I wish, I should have saved that video, because Kendra looked at him and said, "You never took me there."
It's true.
Yeah, so I guess you guys gotta go check that out here. You know what? Thank you guys so much for the comments. We didn't really know how anybody would take this. We couldn't get out and investigate safely like we want to. But Anita, I really appreciate that. These are still really cool stories to tell. And Kayla is my new favorite person, by the way. She says the ghost tracks, and then watch this. Yeah, exactly. We hate on that one, but honestly, does somebody want to tell what why we hate it? Jell, you're the hater on that one. Why don't you explain why you're not a fan? And
I hate it. Well, I've been going there since I was a little kid. That was one of the first places that we used to go every weekend and find haunted places. And we did the whole talcum powder on the bumper, and it worked, and it was amazing. But, as I grew older, I realized that the story behind it is not real. And then secondly, it's an optical illusion because you're actually going downhill, even though it looks uphill. And now it's all redesigned now. I'm sure people are still going there, but it's the land may be haunted, but it's for other reasons.
Yeah, no. When Mike and I went out to film, because we did consider putting that in, decided at the last minute not to. So maybe we'll put it out as an extra. But while we were out there, I mean, I thought, oh dang, man, I should get in my car and go over the tracks. I didn't have to. I mean, there were literally, while we were there for 30 minutes, 16 cars that went over this. If you don't know the story is on these haunted ghost tracks in the south side of San Antonio. The story was that there was a bus accident years ago, and a bus full of kids were killed on the tracks. And now when you go there and put your car in neutral, they'll push your car across the tracks, and it's the dead kids that are pushing you to safety. Again, not true. There's even a part about how the names in the neighborhood are all little like Bobby Sue and all these little like kid names. It was the developer's grandkids. So anyway,
That's so funny.
well, what do you guys? What was something that surprised everybody? That maybe you all had your own opinions and thoughts, and you've heard and read things for years on these things. Jell's been investigating since she was in the womb, but. Is there something that, Vanessa, let's just go round robin here. Vanessa, what is something that surprised you about, one of these stories?
Well, talking about the tracks, growing up, I loved that story, but then I heard that story was just recycled around the country. And so it kind of like killed that story for me. And I thought it was real because there are streets named after people, in that neighborhood nearby. So I can see how parts of the story sounded real, and you're like, well, the tracks exist, and you go over and, so that was something that becoming an adult was surprising.
I don't know. You just spoiled something for Edgar. I'm not sure what, but anyway, Daryl and Kendra, what is something that surprised you from tonight's episode? Maybe that you learned, Gilberto, his YouTube channel, by the way, I got to give him a shout out, his Curious Journey. I thought he had some really interesting information, but did you learn anything that you did not know?
I did not know about the 7-foot Chinese woman in the graveyard.
Well,
yeah, I didn't either.
Oh yeah,
no.
That's the only part that I did know. I didn't know the rest of it. All I knew is there's supposed to be a 7-foot Chinese woman ghost. That's what we looked for.
Yeah, and that's what I heard. And again, it was just down the road from my house where I grew up at. So I mean, it's a couple of miles away, and you're down there, and the 7-foot China woman. But in Gilberto's story, when he was explaining it, it was an 8-foot China. But I heard it was a man. I didn't hear if it was a woman. I heard it was a China man. So I mean, the 7-foot China woman, hey. And again, if everybody doesn't know, and I told Russell this, I said there's a headstone with Casillas in there.
Yeah, well, you sent me a picture of that, so that was kind of crazy.
I'm not really here. I'm dead. I'm dead.
Mary says becoming an adult ruins everything.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, maybe. What's funny though? Like years ago, I made a decision when I was on the radio, I was like, okay, I'm not going to bust out any of these stories, right? Then the problem became everywhere I went, like we would, do, show up to a con or something, and we would do a presentation and talk about, this EVP that we found, and show a video of like a shadow person or whatever. And then somebody from San Antonio would be there and go, hey, so what's up with the tracks? And I'm like,
Yeah.
We found real evidence, and but I'll tell you, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been to the tracks at least 15 times, and it's pretty damn fun. So anyway.
Well, as when you're young, it's fun to go. It's just fun to do, whether it's real or not.
What's up, Jake? Oh, Jake the Snake.
Wow.
That's great.
Great.
Up there in DFW. Okay, well, Joey, what about you? What is something that you learned without spoiling anything for those that haven't watched yet? Something you learned that kind of surprised you about?
Well, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say the 7-foot Chinese woman. I was going to say that as well. And then I remember like when I moved here about the tracks, that was like the scariest thing to me. But like you said, when you become an adult, that was like the scariest thing to me. So my friends took me one time and we did the whole powder and everything. And I was like, you guys, like that's our fingerprints. You know, like,
You had it already.
You're no
yeah.
fool,
And I was
Joey.
like,
You're no fool.
Joey's debunking already. All right.
yeah, but it was just funny because like I thought about it, we did it, and they were like, "Oh my god, look!" And for a second it threw me off, and I was like, "Wait!" And I thought about it, I was like, "Guys, that's us,"
That's what they were saying. It's like if you don't literally go on there and clean that thing like crazy, your own fingerprints are going to show up on that thing.
Yeah.
Daryl's got a ghost in his computer. Elizabeth says can't hear Daryl. So his kids would say that's a fantastic thing. Okay, let's talk about each location and the places that you've been and what you experienced. So let's take it location by location. Let's talk Donkey Lady Bridge. Vanessa, you and I can kind of team up on this one. Yeah. I've been out there a few times. By the way, there was Kayla's got a great comment. I'm mad they put a light on the Donkey Lady Bridge. Same. Okay. If you don't know, they've now turned Donkey Lady Bridge into a park.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be happy, man. Yeah.
Stuff happens.
Right. So anyway, I remember going, this must have been probably 2007 at least. And there was a shrine, if you remember, in the woods to the Donkey Lady.
Yeah, I do remember.
Really?
There was like a picture
over to the left.
Yeah, like before you walked over, like you parked your car or whatever, and before you walked over, yeah, there was or as you walked over, and before you got to the river, right there, and there was a picture of a donkey. There was flowers. A flower crown, all sorts of stuff. And I looked for it when we went out there, a few weeks back when we were just getting some B-roll, and nothing's like that there anymore. But Vanessa, you gotta talk about your story because that was one of the first things that made me believe that all this could be real.
It's really funny. I forgot about that. And I don't know if it's because of one of those things, like it really bothered you. So you just kind of try to put it out of mind. But when you reminded me about that, it just took me straight back and I felt like I was there again. And I remember, and I can see it. We were walking over the bridge and it gets kind of like chilly and I'm like, what? And like people have flashlights. So, you can just like shine your light through, like if you're breathing like smoke out or whatever. And you could see my breath. And it was weird because nobody around me, like you couldn't see their breath either. It wasn't really that cool outside, not to where like you should be able to see my breath. And I don't know, it's just like I've had a weird feeling in my chest and like not that I couldn't breathe, but just like a heaviness. And then it just went away as fast as it came. Like I remember just a couple of breaths and then all of a sudden.
I think you were in the middle, right? Like yeah, I was on one side, Bobby was on the other. Over. And we're just walking and kind of talking.
I think that like a couple of groups at a time went, right? And I was with a couple of people I didn't know. Like because
Jill, how sensitive Vanessa is to when things happen.
When Vanessa's feeling something, you need to pay attention because she's really usually pretty right on, for real. I've learned to take her very seriously. If she starts feeling sick or uncomfortable, it's time to get the hell out of there.
I actually think I'm the opposite. When you start to get creeped out, I run. So you're my gauge. No, that really did happen though, because I'll never forget. Like, yeah, we were wearing hoodies or whatever, but it should never have been cold enough that. And you would have seen everybody's breath, and It was just hers, and it was very bizarre. So, I won't say whether or not what the verdict was, haunted or hoax. That's the whole part of the episode. Are these stories real? Is the Donkey Lady somebody? Was she a real person? Is it haunted or is it a hoax? You got to watch the episode for that. But there's definitely been some crazy things going on. One story that did not make the show, if you've seen it already. And by the way, I realized, I was like, man, today's a crazy day. Last year we moved these to Fridays, so everybody had more time to watch before then. So I don't know. Maybe we'll consider that. I've lost my mind in the pandemic. But one story that didn't make it from Donkey Lady Bridge was they said that kids would hide in the woods, and when people would come up to Donkey Lady Bridge, they would throw rocks at the car to make you think it was the Donkey Lady.
Or the hooves.
So anyway, okay, last story about Donkey Lady Bridge, and Vanessa will remember this one. It is a popular spot, kind of like, not as popular as the tracks in San Antonio, but if you go to Donkey Lady Bridge, which is now out near the old Toyota factory, it's not even named Old Applewhite Road anymore. It's now Jet Road, which is funny, Jill, for many reasons. But we showed up back in 2007 when we first went out there to check the place out. There's graffiti everywhere. I mean, it's a very different place than it is now. And these other kids were there. And we were like, well, okay, I guess, we'll see what they know about the story. So we start talking to them. And I was like, hey, you got another flashlight? And they're like, yeah, in the trunk. And they opened the trunk. There must have been 20 guns in there. And I was like, all right, we're going to wrap this one real quick. So anyway,
That's why
okay.
I don't go to that side of town.
Yeah, it was interesting. Okay, so
hey, that's my hood, man. That's where I grew up.
Not anymore.
yeah,
You live in my hood now.
He's a North Sider now. Okay, let's talk about a story that I have. Well, before we go on, does anybody have any other personal, stories about Donkey Lady Bridge? Sorry, we just kind of hijacked the convo.
I've never been. Never went.
Road trip.
Yep,
Last
road
time
trip.
I was there was with you
running
guys.
in the park.
We went, what was it, 2008 or 2009?
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. It's kind of fuzzy, and I've just never really had any desire to go there.
It's a nice walking
Honestly.
trail now.
It actually is a really nice park now. But anyway, okay. Moving on to a story that I have wanted to tell for years. Because when I started learning about all the haunted spots in San Antonio and why San Antonio is the 5th most haunted city in America, considered on that list, the story of Midget Mansion kept coming up everywhere. And I've always, for whatever reason, been fascinated, by this story. And I'll be honest, the story that I was told was a lot more sinister than the one. I mean, it's still bad. But it was like, these like murdering midgets or whatever. And I'm like, what? And then that's why you got to watch the episode. I love this because hopefully maybe we've cleared up because there's, how it is, right? It's like if it's a tree trunk of a story and then everybody takes their own and branches off of that and it just gets ridiculous. Well,
telephone.
But Midget Mansion was a real place. It wasn't called that, obviously. But Daryl, is that another place that you went to party?
No, I had heard heard stories about it. I'd never been there. I've been to every place else except for that other place they're going to talk about on the show. But no, Midget Mansion. I don't remember ever trying to go out there. I don't think we knew where it was at. We heard stories about it, but
Nope. Same. It was on the list when I was a kid. There was a list printed in the newspaper with a map, and they had tiny little cartoon pictures of all the haunted locations and the ghosts. So we tried to find Midget Mansion, but I was real young. I'm pretty sure we weren't able to find it. Was the deal, and I never thought about it again until it was gone.
Well, there's supposedly apartments where it was now, kind of in the medical center, and I guess there's like a neighborhood there called Denore Square or Mockingbird Hills, and I guess it was what I'm told is I did some history on it. It was like mansion after mansion, just big plots, kind of by I guess is it Denham or Denman?
Denman.
It's
yeah.
Denman.
That place is really cool.
Yeah, that place looks awesome.
That's
by the way, is it
gorgeous park?
I think we should go there.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
But anyway, so it was kind of up there. So when we were talking to Gilberto, who again you got to check out his channel, which is Curious Journey on YouTube. He said that he figured out where this mansion was and kind of peeked over the fence, right? Because all these places now have fences and everything. And it was in somebody else's lot, according to him, for where he plotted it out. And where the foundation would have been, he said, is just a slab of cement. But I know that whoever that family was, and there is a group on Facebook called Friends of Midget Mansion. I'm a member, and there are several people on there who are like angry about the legend. So I'm waiting to get those emails because they were like, "Hey, this was our family's home, you know," and somehow a story sprouted from there. You got to watch the episode to find out how. But I do believe the reasoning that we kind of came up with could be true for why it's called Midget Mansion. Unless
Sounds
Daryl,
good.
yeah, Daryl, do you know of anything else or why they called it that?
No, no. Just again,
Just that it was a little person.
yeah,
That
midget mansion is
there.
what I heard of.
That wouldn't fly today, by the way. If the legend started today, it would be Little People Mansion.
Little people mansion. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Joe, that was you never went, even though that was on the list.
It was on the list, and I don't remember it, so I'm assuming that's one of the ones we couldn't find because we couldn't always find them that were printed on the map, even though they had a map. we couldn't always find them. We used to do it every weekend.
All right, so up next, it was the story of the dancing devil, which I'm told is like the story if you're a San Antonio West Sider at the El Camaroncita dance hall, which still stands to this day.
It
Yep,
does.
it still
Pretty
does.
creepy, but yeah, it's there.
It's still there.
Okay, Daryl, since I gotta stick with the party theme with you, I guess. You ever been in that club?
No, dude, I'm from the. I grew up on the south side. West side was no, don't go there. Okay, I ain't going there.
Whole other world.
Yep, whole other world.
Yeah,
But
I was mainly asking because I heard it was a strip club for a while, but I don't know.
but it's
Funny.
and again, it's funny because I in reality I don't remember hearing about it. I heard stories, but this is when I was older that that dancing devil person. There was a club down on Somerset Road by South San High School where I went to school, and there was something that happened in one of those clubs. So I'm like, it's always at a drinking place. Wow.
Maybe that's how this all starts, And you know what? Sadly, there will be no more urban legends because instead of sitting around drinking and coming up with stories, we're sitting around drinking and trying to figure out what our Instagram caption is going to be. So they're done. No more, I guess.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie to you. When I heard this story, I was like, good story, but there's absolutely no way that any of this happened. And without going into spoilers, I was pretty shocked. Were you guys shocked on this one?
Yes, I want to talk to her.
Yeah, Jessica Jacqueline Herrera. She has written a book called "I Saw the Devil in San Antonio," and she's working on a documentary as well. And has been inside. She has taken artifacts, and let me just say that it's been a really, really rough year for her. Joe, explain this to me, right? Like, so that people may not know, and they're like, "What's the big deal of that?" Like, if a place is seriously haunted, and you take things from it, that's not always good.
It's not guaranteed, but especially if you have some kind of weakness about you, if you've experienced a trauma or you're sick or you're having other issues in your life, it's more likely to be able to attach to that and come with you. It's drawn to you and you're going to start being tormented by it so that it can collect energy from your fear.
So yeah, that's what happened to her, and there was a lot more that she told us that we just couldn't fit in, but highly recommend checking out her book and the description of what she saw, because I think that one is pretty incredible. So okay, with the other couples that we talked about, there's in every state, maybe every couple of counties, cities, they have got a story about a crazy bridge, right?
Yeah.
I know several. But have you ever heard, meaning that sometimes these stories just get translated to different cities or whatever and made locally for them? I know of a bridge in Monmouth, Illinois called Crybaby Bridge, where the kids push you off the bridge. Same thing, But I've never heard another story like the Dancing Devil.
Actually, when I was doing research, there was a story like out of New Mexico, Arizona area that was similar, but it was, you know, of Hispanic heritage. Maybe it was at a bar. Yeah, they were drinking. So something similar, like the grandmother told the little girl, "Don't go dancing," and she went anyway. And this handsome gentleman was, you know, I don't think it was chicken feet though. It was hooves of some sort. So. I mean, I don't know.
I'm telling you, man, that tequila, you know, you start drinking that stuff, you start dancing around, you start looking down, I'm like, oh, shoot, look
It
at
must
that.
take a lot of tequila for chicken feet, though. I don't know.
That's so funny.
Depends what shoes you're wearing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I found that, you know, very interesting and probably the most shocking episode of all. But, you know, as Mike Mays, the Texas cryptid hunter, said something to me that he said, all of these stories come from one tiny shred of truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they weren't just like made up. Something happened. Like, there maybe was a woman who like was always seen with her donkey, and then all of a sudden this, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the dancing devil, like, what's the truth there? That moms don't want their
girls to go out at night.
yeah, I mean, maybe it's just there to teach the lesson, but it's pretty crazy. Again, keep your comments coming if you have any questions about the episode tonight. And if you haven't seen it yet, episode 1 of season 13 of the Russell Rush Haunted Tour is online right now on YouTube. We premiered it on Facebook as well, which is something different we're trying. We just wanted to make sure to give everybody access, and always check out everything, backed episodes and more on our YouTube channel and russellrushhauntedtour.com. Also, new this year, our thanks to ABC affiliate in San Antonio, KSAT 12. If you've got a Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV, you can actually download the KSAT TV channel to your device, and you'll be able to watch some of our episodes on there. So that's kind of a cool deal. All right, so one of the last stories that we featured was the story of the Chinese graveyard, which I always thought was the most racist thing. I was afraid to even really talk about it on the air, but you know, but then once you like hear the story, it's not as bad.
What, you know, when you went there, when you and who went there with you, Russell? Was it you, Vanessa, Bobby, and who else?
I went with you the second time, I think.
Yeah, I've been out there 3 times, and the first time it was Bobby, you, me, and it was Greg. Greg was running camera back then, if you remember. But anyways, me, you, Bobby, and JoJo and Greg, right? Okay. And we did the thing, and I remember like hearing something.
Yeah. Okay. And again, there's there's ranches behind all of that. Now, you know, there's always been ranches behind that area, where they have a lot of horses back there. But the thing about it is that when you first walk into the place, and if you walk in there now, you look at all the headstones, and it's all Hispanic names everywhere. And I thought when we had done it, Kendra and I, we went to the very back, and you go to the very back where it's fenced off, and you start seeing headstones, but there's nothing in there. There's no kind of name, but there's definitely headstones. And I think that's where, what was the name of it? La Loma or something like that? Wasn't that
the Lona or Loma China Cemetery?
Loma China Cemetery. And I think, that one, I don't know. I'm like, whoa, but maybe that's where the Chinese graveyard, the Chinese part came in. Again, I see a lot of Hispanics, Hispanic surnames back there. My name is back there. But I thought at one time we had gone back there, me and Kendra, and we went looking in there, and we saw. But it's been years. But we went back there. I thought we found a headstone with some
like
Chinese,
some inscription.
Yes, But
there's a bench. There's a bench in the back at one of the big grave sites.
Bench, right? A metal bench, right?
This one was like a concrete. It was in the episode actually. It was like concrete bench, and it says on, and you can barely make it out because it's all kind of weathered and everything, but it says Loma China Cemetery.
Right. Right. I thought we had actually seen some headstones with Chinese markings or whatever. I thought at one time we had seen that, but that was in the very back. You go the front part of the cemetery; it's all Hispanic.
You know what's funny is I had asked this question a while ago because I'm like, why is it called that? You know, I was afraid to really talk about it because I didn't know what it was. I mean, I must have heard 3 or 4 things. The one story that sticks out in my mind was, a plane coming from China crashed near there and they buried everybody in there. That's
I heard that one.
I mean, they're just making it up now. But
You know, the one thing that I remember the most about going there with you guys was how dark it was. Long, dark, and narrow, and it was so dark because it's surrounded by trees all the way around. It was pitch black. I mean, not even a beam of moonlight shone through. I mean, you were walking back there, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and you can see that in all the pictures that I took that night because I couldn't aim at anything. I was just randomly clicking away.
Yeah.
And I got halves of gravestones because I couldn't see anything.
The other thing is when you're there, like, especially at night, like when you're there in the daytime, you can look back, you know, and Heather described it perfectly. It looks like an old dirt road.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then, like the gravestones line the side. During the day, you can look back and go, okay, there's that fence. I know that's the back of the cemetery. At night, I swear to God, it gets 4 times longer. I'm serious. I don't know, that it's maybe me, but it just feels like during the day you could take 5 minutes and walk all the way up, 5 minutes, walk all the way back. At night, you feel like you can be walking 30 minutes like you're hiking out a Donkey Lady.
You're also walking 10 times slower.
Well, that's true.
See no end in sight because it's so dark and it just looks like it goes on forever.
Maybe we ended up on a horse ranch and we didn't know it. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
Joey, is this another place you haven't been?
The funny thing is, I don't try to follow up on these urban legends and like, you know what, let's go investigate that. I don't ever do that.
See, that's not how it really started when we were doing those little ones. Like when we had nothing really to like film or.
And Russell would ask me to go, and I would always say no. We're like, nope.
Nope, gotta go.
I did.
Home.
I always asked him, and he's like,
gotta go to the club.
And I sounded just like
Fernando Cathedral.
Like
I think we might have a little bit of trouble getting with the archdiocese to let us into San Fernando Cathedral.
That would be awesome, though. Just to check out like the catacombs below and everything. Well, we hope you were able to check out the episode. If you haven't yet, go take a look. Like I said, now next Thursday night we release a brand new episode, and I think honestly you're gonna love this because the 2 things that I love about every one of these episodes that we do is the history and then the evidence, right? That's kind of what it's all about. And that's what this is about as we showcase Haunted Tour's most terrifying moments. So we're talking, we're going to tell you the history of the place to make sure that you know where it is and what happened there and show you the evidence that we captured. Just bam, 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 nonstop. And so that's coming for you next Thursday night. And then on the 29th, we alluded to this on Monday. Jell is very happy about this. On the 29th, we have something special, an episode that we thought was lost to a digital black hole years ago. Was magically found during the pandemic, maybe been the only good thing that 2020 did. But it was an investigation that we were all part of at Hot Wheels Hotel on the south side. This is before the county took it over and it was a park and all this. I mean, it was completely raw before it got repaired at all. So anyway, you'll get to see that on the 29th. And of course, we're going to, Edgar says, lost tape. It wasn't even lost tape. It was tape that was digitized and then just was black. And no matter what we could do to it, anyway, we'll explain that in the beginning of the episode. But it's a pretty crazy story, and it honestly gave me chills when I tried. This is back in the quarantine part when it was like, Tiger King was cool, and that's how long ago this was. And And I pop in all the drives and everything, and I'm like, oh man, I found these. Let's pop these in again just to see. Because I would try randomly, and all of a sudden I pop it in, and I'm like, wow, there's Fat Russell, like unbelievable. Like there I am, from a decade ago. We all look very different, but anyway. So that's coming on the 29th. Elizabeth says she's got stories there too. By the way, I'll have to share a picture with everybody. Elizabeth, she sent me a picture. Her little baby Wes was actually watching the show tonight. So new Haunted Tour fan in the making.
There we go.
Any last questions from anybody? Love to answer. And if you've got thoughts, questions, definitely want to be able to answer. I saw somebody talk about Luke. When I heard the 7-foot woman, my heart skipped a few beats. It's a pretty terrifying story, and I'm glad that when we were there, we didn't see that. But what I loved about talking about Chinese graveyard, by the way, what I loved that Gilberto found was how there was a story about that in Japanese culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
That maybe that came from, and all of a sudden it's here. And then he told me, and Daryl, you're gonna have to correct me on this one. He said back then, no matter if you were Korean, Japanese, Chinese, you were Chinito.
Yep.
It was just kind of a blanket term. And so maybe that's where this came from. I found that fascinating. So anyway. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us here. We've got a new episode coming Thursday. If you haven't seen tonight's episode with the Urban Legends, Haunted or Hoax, and by the way, we've got more to do. So if, a second pandemic hits next year, God forbid, at least we've got an idea what to do. I just jinxed this, didn't I? All right, I'm going to go. Good to see your faces, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope everybody's got those Halloween vibes going. Again, we've got 2 more episodes coming for you after the haunt as well. And Monday night, though, is the next thing. Monday night, we're back with Haunted Tour Throwback Redux. What do we want to show?
Oh. What have we not shown?
We haven't been to Witty, right?
Oh yes, Witty. The
Haven't done the
clown car.
Witty.
I like Magnolia.
You know what? Vanessa did suggest the Magnolia Hotel, so maybe
That's a
we'll
good
do
one.
that one on Monday night.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite moments is in there.
Awesome, guys. Well, Monday night we will be on talking about all that junk, and we will see you then. But watch that episode. Let us know what you think. I saw somebody say, hey, how do I get an EVP to you or contact you guys? It's pretty simple at russellrushhauntedtour.com or just rrhauntedtour@gmail.com. Or find us on the gram or Facebook. We answer the messages. By the way, Jell is the one managing the Facebook. So when she messages you back at like 3 o'clock in the morning, it's her, not me. All right, guys.
I'm sleeping at 3 o'clock.
Have a great rest of the week here, and thanks for joining us. All right, take care. See you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.